replacing all of the T-trim on this Sega Nascar arcade machine. You're replacing all of this chrome T-trim with some brand new chrome T-trim. I'm going to show you how to do that. It's incredibly easy, and it's a really easy thing that you can do that can very much raise the value of an arcade machine by just making it look better. Old T-trim like this looks terrible. It looks awful. You replace that with some brand new shiny T-trim, it makes the machine look a million times better. Another thing that greatly raises the value is a proper monitor bezel, but I'm still holding out hope that I can fix that CRT. Haven't actually looked at it, and it's been out of the cabinet for like a year, so I should probably do that, but today we're working on T-trim. The first step is to remove the old T-trim. This cabinet has a fuck ton of T-trim, so we're going to remove the largest section first, and we're going to work on the largest sections first, because worst case scenario, we can wait on these smaller sections, and we can do with some scraps, we can repair those, but these main large sections you don't want to piece together. That would look disgusting. A lot of machines have these corner protectors. They're really awesome. Highly recommend corner protectors. They nicely protect the corner, especially on a machine like this that sticks out a lot. That definitely saves a lot of damage. But you're going to have to remove that because the T-trim is under it. Now, Sega, in their amazing geniusness, actually ran the T-trim all the way around the machine, even on the bottom, which I've never actually seen before, so I didn't take into account when I bought this T-trim, so I hope I bought enough, but I won't be surprised if I run out because I didn't account for, well, apparently half of the T-trim I'm going to need. Of course, they had to run T-trim in between the two halves as well, so we actually have to fully disassemble this machine. So, a little bit more difficult on this machine. Most machines, it's very easy. This one, I see why nobody's replaced this T-trim yet. But we're here to do it, so let's do it. I've never actually had this apart. I bought it assembled, I delivered it assembled, and, well, I moved it around assembled. I've never taken this apart, so I really hope I'm doing it right. I'm pretty sure I am. I've also apparently never set it at this angle because I've never noticed that sticker before. So these should separate now, except for the fact that this piece of trim we also have to remove. Not only does it bolt to both halves of the cabinet, but it also covers up T-trim. So let's remove that piece of trim. I'm glad they didn't actually run T-trim under there like I thought. Apparently running T-trim under the entire cabinet's okay, but not under there. So it's less T-trim than I gotta use, I guess. So we now have to start at one of these two ends. I think we'll start here so I can show you how to do it. And, well, rip it all out. It's pretty simple. A lot of cabinets will have something like a staple or a nail at the beginning and end of the T-trim to stop it from flaking up. This cabinet, they didn't do that because this end's pinched by that piece of trim, and obviously over here it's not coming undone because the whole cabinet's pinching that together, so they didn't actually do it here. So, we're lucky. You gotta pull it, and you want to pull this straight. You don't want to go at an angle, anything like that, because you'll remove more wood. The easiest way to do it is just go straight. It's super simple, super easy. As long as you didn't run into somebody that did something that I don't like, and it's called hot glue the T-trim in. Some people will hot glue T-trim around the corners so they don't pop up. There's ways around not having to do that. Jesus, they didn't even notch this stuff. They just probably heated it up. That's probably how they did it. So I don't personally like to do that method because that method, the notching method, works a hell of a lot better. The main issue with using hot glue on corners and stuff that a lot of people do for some reason, I know people do it because, you know, it doesn't stay in properly, but if you use hot glue, every time the T-trim has to be removed, you lose more and more wood until eventually you have no more wood. So I don't like it when people use hot glue. Ultimately, I have ran into cabinets where, sure, it doesn't stick. And in that case, you really don't have much choice to use a little bit of something to space it. But gluing the entire thing in is absolutely ridiculous and not necessary, unless you've already completely ruined the T-trim slot. In that case, honestly, your better bet might be to just refill the T-trim slot and recut it. Ultimately, it should be pretty easy to remove all of the old T-trim. I just put my hand in a spider web and another spider web, so that was fun. Now we actually need to pull the cabinet apart. I forgot to do that. That's a lot more T-trim than I remember buying. This will definitely be enough to do this whole cabinet, at least it better be. When you make T-trim notches, you want to leave as much material behind as you can. You don't want to, like, cut it completely smooth, otherwise you have nothing holding it in that corner. Then you end up with the corner sliding around. You don't want that. Leave as much as you can, but still have enough to be able to make the bend. If your T-trim slots are good and tight, you're not going to be able to just push it in by hand. You're going to need some kind of hammer. That's where you want to use a rubber or a plastic hammer. Don't use a metal hammer. This does have a protective coating on it, but not all do. Most don't. And, well, it's still not going to protect it from a goddamn hammer hit. So use something like a plastic hammer, like this one here. It's not going to damage it. So, well, unless you do it too hard, obviously, but you can lightly tap it in. You really should not have to hit hard at all. Just some light taps to snug it into place. Underneath here, those are a little bit hard to tap in with a nice rubber mallet. I mean, technically, we're kind of hitting on the plastic ends. but ultimately nobody's ever gonna see it under here. You'll just see this nice edge and see that it's there. This is genuinely something that you can do at home and absolutely improve the value of a machine you're trying to sell. Really, I should do this with two hands going around a corner like this. You want to keep it nice and tight so you don't end up with any bubbles at your corners. It's really easy to do. Honestly, installing tree trim is probably the easiest thing you can do with an arcade machine. There we go, beautifully replaced. We're not going to peel off till we're done. Well, at least until I have to put these two halves of the cabinets back together. Let's go move on to the other side. Now, honestly, I gotta figure out where this one starts, but I can't figure it out because this one makes a full loop. I figured it would probably be right there where the two halves of the cabinets connect, because that would be, in my opinion, the best spot, but it's not there. Where the hell is the beginning of this T-trim? Look at that. Nobody removed the peel before they put the two halves of the cabinet together. That's exactly what I expect to do. Couldn't find the starting position, so I made my own, and we'll figure out where it is along the way. There it was, right here in the middle. I actually did not see that. They did that damn well. Shit, I gotta do it that well then. This right here is the only time I'll accept hot glue. As you can see, somebody absolutely fucked up cutting this T-trim slot. It honestly looks like they fucking veered off this direction. So, you could use hot glue here, you could refill it and recut it. We're gonna ignore it. We're just gonna go over here because we have solid over here, solid over here. There'll just be a slight wiggle spot here. Eventually I'll fill that and, well, fix it properly, but fortunately I don't got time to do that right now. Another piece done, time to do that piece there. At least that one's nice and short. I would say this is a great thing to install to take your anger out, but it's really not. You're really just, kind of letting the hammer bounce on it. You're really not putting any real hits on it. If you were to actually have to hit it, you're doing something wrong. And with that, the chair is done. So now we need to redo the cabinet itself, which is fun. I didn't actually even realize. I thought it just went underneath. No, it goes the whole way around, 100% the way around on both sides. That's ridiculous. That's a stupid amount of it. I mean, it's not that expensive, but, like, it's not cheap either. Gone in nicely. Unfortunately, now I have to jump on the other side of the machine and do this all from the back. Oh boy, this is gonna be fun. First got into arcade machines. I was always confused as to how footprints got on top of machines. I now know how footprints get on top of machines. That's why when you build these arcades, you build them with open rafters so you can use them as monkey bars to get up from behind these machines. Had to move other machines so I get this stupid rear corners off. I didn't realize it had them. That was fun to do. I had to jump over and climb over these machines like 4 times. That was real fun. This side is done. Really hoping this is the last time I have to jump back here when I have to jump back here to do that side. Oh my goodness, this is a real pain to jump behind. It is, not the easiest. Because I don't want to just, like, climb up the circuit boards. I have to fucking use my hops to get to the fucking rafters and crawl my way over. Only took like 5 jumping back and forth, but we now have this one on this side, as well as this one here. I also put those stupid corner protectors back on, so we don't have to jump back over to put those on. Now we just need to finish running this up. I also started peeling it, so I don't have to jump back over here to peel it. So we should no longer have to jump on the other side of this thing, which is really good, because it's really tiring to do. Bends like that, instead of cutting notches, all you have to do is cut slits just like that, so you can get that bend there without it eventually popping out. Here we go, 2 more pieces to replace. Thank goodness I don't have to move out of this seat to do it. Just like that, we have beautiful new T-trim. All we need to do is, well, peel the fun part, as then you have a bunch of blue pieces of plastic laying around that you have to get rid of. But let's get this thing peeled up and see how it looks. And just like that, that is how you make a machine go from, well, kind of boring to looking pretty damn nice. Definitely how you raise the value of a machine if you're gonna go sell it. That looks a whole lot better. Now we need to put this machine back together, so shoving these 2 halves together, bolting this back on, bolting the 2 halves together, putting that trim piece on, and we should be done. One side lined up. These things are not the easiest to line up when your ground is about as level as it would be if there wasn't even concrete here. I left my small screwdriver behind the machine, and you know what I'm never going to see ever again if I don't go back there and get it right now? That screwdriver. And I like that screwdriver. So we got to go back behind it again. Now we just have these corner mounts to put back on, and we'll be done with this machine. Are you fucking kidding me? I missed a piece. Luckily we don't have to disassemble anything to replace that. That should be pretty easy to replace. There we go. Now we're looking good. Boom. Now if I were to wipe this thing off, not have that monitor in there, this thing would be worth, I don't know, I could probably ask like 50 bucks more, and I put like 10 bucks worth of T-trim in it. So, yeah, I'd say that was a pretty worth it deal. It also just looks a hell of a lot better in my arcade, which is where it's gonna sit. But hopefully you learned something, and if you need to do T-trim on your own machine, hopefully now you'll do it and not have any issues. If you like what you saw, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.